Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making this pop-up card which uses the lovely Flight Airy Designer Series paper, which is currently a Sale-a-Bration set. So this is how it opens. It has like a WV, however you want to call it, and there are 4 pieces that fit inside. So like I say, this uses the Designer Series paper Flight Airy, which is in the current Sale-a-Bration catalogue, and it runs from January 4th to the 29th of February. So that's a little bit unusual in itself. There's lots of papers, 2-sided, lots birds on one, and I must be honest, when I saw this I thought, yeah, birds, it's nice. Then I got a free pack, and then it was like, oh, I have to order some more stuff. So for every $50 you spend in the current January through April mini catalogue, or the current annual catalogue, or even if you do any of the online exclusives, spend $50, you can have this for free. And the other thing we're going to be using, it doesn't show up so well in the picture because it's grey, is the Softly Sophisticated bundle. We're not going to be using the stamps today, but I am going to be using the embossing folder, so you'll see that in action a little while longer. That, because it's a bundle, you get the stamps and the embossing folder, you need to spend $100. But honestly, if you look in the current mini catalogue, it's not a challenge. But anyway, so current Sale-a-Bration, January 4th to February 29th. If there's anything you want, look in the link below and you'll find my online shop, and go and shop your little heart out and get yourself a boatload of free stuff. So without further ado, let's get back to the card. So it has this wonderful little pop-up element, and I will show you the ingredients that we need to make it. So here they all are. There is a piece of cardstock. The cardstock base is 11 by 4 1/4, and it's scored at 5 1/2. So that's a regular card size base that fits into your average envelope. These are the pieces that I embossed with the embossing folder that I got from Sale-a-Bration. I actually cut them a little bit larger. The layers, so we'll start with the Designer Series paper, actually, is a piece, and it's the usual 1/4 inch shorter. So it's 4 by 5 1/4. Sometimes when you emboss, depends on how intricate it is, it can actually make your cardstock just a little smidge shorter. So this I actually cut at 5 3/8 and 4 1/8 before I embossed it. It didn't scrunch it down too much, but it does nicely fill the inside of the card. So there's the Designer Series paper and the 2 pieces for the inside. The mechanism, whoops, wrong card. The mechanism is a strip, and it's scored at 5 1/2, but then at 2 3/4 and 8 1/4, and then you just fold it back on itself. You just give that a quick little crease with the bone folder. So there you've got your W or your M, however you want to look at it. It's just the piece that the extra little panels fit against. And then the panels themselves, I cut them out with the stylish shapes, and it's the middle one, and I think it's 2 inches, but the inside of it is about 1 7/8 because it cuts in the middle. And then there's also the banner, which I used for the front, is using the largest banner shape. So these were, let's say, 1 7/8. So the boho blue I cut was 2 1/8, and then it just layers on nicely. So there's 2 little bits of stamping to do, and the rest of it is really assembly. So let's get stamping. The piece that is, let me bring in the original card so you can see it. The piece that is the happy birthday, I'm using the Artistically Inked, and it is the red rubber cling set. So I'm going to use a Flirty Flamingo to match the Flirty Flamingo card base. So this is 3/4 inch, and this piece is about 3 1/4 inches long. It's better to have it long enough that you can cut a little piece off than too much. So while I've got the inks open, the other stamp I'm using is Best Wishes. So that can pop there, and that will be the 4th layer on the inside. And then I did bring in the boho blue, and I took an old sponge that was a circle and cut it into quarters so it's got a nice flat edge. Oh, I just need to trim this down first, don't I? Silly me, forgetting that I left it longer. So we're just going to cut a little piece off each end, just so you can eyeball it up to the edges of where it says happy birthday. And then it will fit into your banner. And then we'll take the boho blue. If you try and put ink on the edge with the round side, it will smudge in. If you use the flat edge, you've got a little bit more control, and you can actually make it look a little bit more intense. The only reason I did that was it just looked a little bit lost when it was on the front of the card. Whoops. So we can go ahead and pop that on the banner, and then let's put all of the birds and the greeting onto their squares, and then we can get straight onto assembly and making this card look marvelous. So I'll put each little bird on. They're just being attached in no particular order. There we go, that's all the elements made. And now what we need to do is assemble the card. Sometimes when you've embossed, the sticky adhesive, the rolling adhesive, doesn't stick so well. So what I would recommend is using the mono liquid glue, because it can just get into all those little grooves and crevices and help it stick a little bit better. So we'll just put a little bit round each edge. Right, let's get these popped in. So remembering that it's just 1/8 of an inch smaller all round. I have to leave a little bit of a tighter layer, and the good thing is, because it was cut in the same place in the embossing folder, the pattern actually follows through on the seam of the card. So that's that done. The front we can actually just use the rolling adhesive, because it's flat and it's not going to be doing particularly too much work, let's just say. So we can pop the bird on. Now the pieces of designer series paper, they've got random birds and random flowers. So you'll see the happy birthday on this one went up at the top because there was a space. This one I'm actually going to put in the middle because I don't want to hide this little guy's head and leave nothing here. So you can space your greeting wherever you think it would look the best. So this one's going to be in the middle. And now we get on to the little piece of designer series paper, the little piece of cardstock, which becomes the mechanism. Now, bearing in mind this is going to be pulled on quite a bit, it really needs to be securely fastened down. So I'm just going to use some of the tear and tape on the two ends, which will be fastened down. The two middle pieces, of course, they're free because they need to move so the card can close. So we'll pop that one on there. You could use the liquid glue. Then I'll have faith in my tear and tape. So now we're going to close this down and take the backing paper off just one side for now. Oops, it's not closed down all the way. So now we're going to put it in the middle, and it goes right up to the edge of the cardstock because they're both 11 inches. So we'll put that down and make sure it's pressed on really hard. And then the best way to make sure it's secure and even and that your card can fold, Sometimes when you do pieces like this on the inside, it won't open all the way, but very few people actually get a card and force it to open completely flat. But if it won't close, it will warp and bend, and then it won't fit into the envelope properly. So the best way to do it is to just fold them all up and then close the card down onto it. Oh, I've got a little overhang on that one. Must have just been where it fell in the trough in the paper cutter when I was scoring it. So now, there it is, all folded. It's just a little bit empty in the middle. So, bearing in mind, let's organize our birds. So we'll have one looking that way, one looking that way, and the greeting on that one. These two can stick all the way down because if you stick this one down, you're going to stick the card closed, but the two at the ends can stick the whole thing. So we'll stick that one. And we're just going to eyeball it between the edge and the crease and evenly across the little mechanism. Same on this side. And these two, they obviously only need adhesive where they're going to attach to the boho blue. So we'll use our trusty ZZ fold method and turn it over, and then we can see where we can put adhesive that it won't stick to the card. And we'll do that on the other side. And stick that down. And then there's a little place there for writing on. And there you have it. Two the same. Like I say, the position of the happy birthday banner is really just so that you don't obscure too much of the birds, because it kind of matters on this particular piece of designer series paper where it was cut from the whole 12 by 12 sheet. But however you want to place it, it's your card, your decision, and it opens up nicely like that. So like I say, these were free with a $50 the designer series paper was free with a $50 purchase in the current Sale-a-Bration set. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing. Please give me a thumbs up, that helps my algorithm. If you want to do any shopping, the link and all the descriptions and all the measurements will be in the box below. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.